All right, we're here at the CrossFit 10-year affiliate gathering. For, for okay,
Yes, we are.
Fern is purposely being quiet because we came down to the lobby of the Westin, which is a really nice resort that we're lucky enough to be at. Huge buffet breakfast, and in the middle of Whistler. And I just said to Fern, follow my lead for the podcast because we came down with the intention of recording this show about an hour ago, and we just keep running
30
into,
minutes.
all right,
30
30
minutes.
minutes. But we keep running into people. There's people waving and looking at us over there. That's Amy Hollingsworth. Dan Hollingsworth is over there.
CrossFit Kitsap, Washington.
Yep. David Osorio just walked by from South Brooklyn. The girls of Girls Gone Wad. Lots of things.
Rocket CrossFit,
So many.
Seattle.
Pat Sherwood was here.
The General from China.
Yeah. Okay. And so it's where you want to be.
Matt Swift from Australia. Listen, I could do this all day.
Fern has a better angle on the room than I do. Okay, but then here's what I'm putting out there, because we do have to get over to the get-together, the gathering, but we wanted to record a few podcasts this week, and we're going to get some of those great people that Fern just pointed out. But I was on a walk earlier today with Justin Berg. Justin Berg, for those who are unaware, is the general manager of the CrossFit Games. He owned and sold CrossFit Southside in Jacksonville, Florida. And Roz and I and my wife were going on a hike, and Justin tagged along. But he said something interesting to me.
Was he a third wheel? It's just the three of you?
It was a bit of a third wheel
great.
scenario. But like I told Fern before the show, too bad I didn't record because he dropped some dirt on the CrossFit Games. That shall remain silent. Go to the vault with me. But one question Justin did pose to me that I'm going to ask Fern, and then if he wants, we can talk a little bit about it, is, what was the difference when all of us first affiliated? So we're in the 10-year gathering, meaning every affiliate here has been here since at least 2009. Fern and I for years prior to that. What was the difference, and what sparked someone in 2007, 8, and 9 to become an affiliate versus what is happening now in 2019? So, and real quick, I'll give my brief answer.
Yep.
And it was just like, hey, at first glance, at first thought, it really reminded me of the Simon Sinek TED Talk, Start With Why.
Yeah.
And, how great leaders inspire action. And to me,
Great
it was
book as well.
Great, absolutely. And we were really early adopters. But what caused that? So are you comfortable with the fact that I said follow my lead? Was that a good? Did I lead you in a good direction?
Following you anywhere makes me uncomfortable. However, this is a good topic. No, this is a great topic because of where we are, and
Yes.
I do think the topic is relevant because we're not going to get that time back. Meaning, that era of CrossFit is gone. And not necessarily for good or bad, it's just gone, right? Everything about fitness in general has evolved largely due to CrossFit. The landscape of micro gyms has evolved immensely, more so in the past 5 years than probably the previous 5 years. But I think largely most people got into it first is because, A, they wanted to be early adopters. So if you think about crossing the chasm, it kind of outlines that as far as a lot of people that started the affiliates there were early adopters. Not everybody knew what CrossFit was. There was a select group of people, largely people that were into pain and training. And I think it'd be fair to say that 10 years ago, CrossFit was not for everybody.
Well, yes, certainly, and just to be clear, some of what sparked this topic was the push to CrossFit Health, the change to the games, but also just expectations of affiliate owners back when we started versus what it is today. And I agree with you. Certainly the position CrossFit has taken in the fitness world has changed, so now it really is for everybody. I think part of it was when I opened in 2007, I don't know how you felt, but I'd never really thought of it like I'm opening a business. I just looked at it as, hey, I'm a trainer. This is a better way to train people. I can handle more of them at once. I can probably make more money. But I didn't look at it like, hey, I need to go to the attorney and draw up an LLC, all that kind of stuff. Literally was just whatever money I had in my personal bank account I
I
would
don't
spend.
I don't think most people probably thought of it that way in
Well,
2009 because it was a passion project for most people. It was not I'm getting in this. Most people did not start their CrossFit gyms in order to leave their jobs. Meaning it was something
right.
they did on the side because they wanted to have their own place where they wanted to chill out and work out and hang out with their friends. But for most people, it wasn't how they intended to pay their bills.
Right. It was just a passion project that for some of us became lucrative and full businesses. But at the time, it was more, hey, and didn't you feel a little bit like you're joining a revolution?
Correct, and that kind of is what I was alluding to earlier when I stated that era of CrossFit is gone. So the allure of this thing is gone. CrossFit is as mainstream as it's going to get as far
I think
in the fitness industry.
I think it'll become, personally, I think it'll become even more mainstream. I think it is mainstream
Maybe
now.
it is, but people know what it is.
Yes.
Right? They
But
may
it
not
will
know
become-
they may not know the ins and outs of it, but if you say CrossFit to somebody, the question is generally not what is CrossFit, right? The question is people already have assumed ideas of what CrossFit is, right? And that's when I say if it's mainstream. If people have already assumed they know what it is, it's not a secret anymore. Now, whether they're right or not is a totally different discussion, but people have an idea and they have an opinion about it, good or bad.
Do you think there will ever be a day when CrossFit is the standard of training versus, I'd say,
I think it depends on how we do with this podcast, Jay.
then there's no hope. But, wouldn't you say the average person that thinks about joining a gym thinks of chest tries and cardio as the standard?
A traditional gym.
Traditional gym.
I don't even know if I can answer that question. I have no idea what the average gym goer this day and age is looking for. Meaning, like somebody who's not looking for functional type fitness. I think the craze now is a lot of people are looking for spin-offs of CrossFit that have a CrossFit-esque flavor, but don't
Boutique.
actually. They're boutique, but they don't actually have the work capacity requirement of CrossFit, right?
Right.
People are trying to do CrossFit, but they're just trying to do it the easy way. And to each their own. I'm not mad at anybody for that.
And I don't think in their mind they realize they're trying to do it the easy way. Someone has probably, guided them improperly and said CrossFit is dangerous. So do OTF or do Barry's Boot Camp or one of those. It's safer.
Yeah.
And you'll lose weight faster. That's what they're being told.
For sure.
Even if it's not true.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are being sold a false bill of goods in the sense that, like, hey, there's an easier way to do this other than work really hard.
But my point is, if we take the entire community of people that exercise in this country, CrossFit is still probably less than 1%.
That is I wouldn't disagree. That's a fair statement. It's not, we all think it's the thing, and we all think that everybody knows it and is aware that it exists, but the reality is, as you start to get out of that small pond that was started back in 2002, and everybody started fishing in very lightly in 2008 and 9, it's still a small pond. We have not gotten to the ocean yet.
Yeah, I think people are misguided when they think, first of all, you'd have to, this can become a super deep tangent, but okay, what classifies someone exercises in this country, right? They walk 3 times a week. So now you're going to say probably 10% of people that claim they exercise are just walking or jogging.
They're
right?
doing the minimal amount of movement to be classified as a human being.
No, there's less. And then most people that say, hey, I do exercise regularly would probably do some shitty version of bodybuilding style workout with 20 minutes. Then you have the yogis, then you have point is CrossFit's still very, very small. And
which is good news.
Why so?
For everybody. Meaning, for those people who think, how many times have you heard the market is saturated, like CrossFit is in a downward trend?
Oh, countless. Every seminar, someone's asking, do you think it's too busy in Atlanta, New Orleans? No, it's not.
And that's my point, is that I think we're in a unique scenario where people think that CrossFit has begun to kind of teeter or sputter out, when in fact we haven't even really gotten started. I think everybody just has to recalibrate the lens that they're looking at CrossFit and the overall fitness space through. Meaning, and Coach Glassman has talked about this and elaborated on this probably better than anybody. CrossFit owns the elite fitness space. Like, there is no other player.
Yeah,
Like,
people will claim they own it, like the OCR guy who
the
competed at the
F45
games.
or all that stuff, but nobody is claiming elite fitness who's not doing CrossFit. It's just not a thing, and anybody who says that is completely full of shit, right? So
I think even the best in the OCR world this day realizes, hey, I'm really good at obstacle course. I'm not the elitist of elite when it comes to fitness.
That's a specialty sport, right? You're good at obstacle courses, you know. And kudos to what's his name, the guy who showed up to the games, right? Like
the Hunter.
Hunter, yeah. And I think he did really well. Like, he got an invite, and he's not a scrub. He's fit. I mean, like by most metrics that we would, yeah. So, but the good news is that there's a lot of people out there, and I'm hoping that some of the things with regard to that will get addressed this weekend, which is, where do people need to be shifting their focus and their sight in order to start capturing a larger part of that market? And a lot of affiliates are figuring it out, meaning you can run a really great CrossFit gym, but people may need to think about lower barrier programs to get people in the door, because no amount of you being a nice guy and smiley and having a good social media presence is going to convince that person who's just scared to death. The only people that came into the gym in 2008 and 9 were the people that were sadists.
Yeah, they were, and that's what Justin and I started talking a little bit about. You know, in 2006, 7, 8, and 9, it was primarily 20 to 30-year-olds, mostly men, but some women, and, you know, former athletes that were
looking to try to regain their athleticism again.
Yeah, and or at least that culture and community of it. Like, you know, how many married men and women that had their kid, and now they're like, I still want to have some friends. I still want to participate in some community that's not a bar, that's not going out drinking. And that was primarily it. And nowadays it's, you know, a completely different demographic. And I believe that that's partly due to the CrossFit Health initiative. My mom understands now that she can do CrossFit, where back then, and part of what made it scary also was probably the fact that it was in dungeons and
it was dirty and it was scary, and everybody played Megadeth on the radio, and it was not, like I said before, it was not welcoming.
Yeah,
it wasn't. It was a cult.
So
right? And that was a fair categorization of CrossFit at that time, by the way.
And so part of the second part of the question that we were talking about was, are affiliate owners' expectations a lot higher now than they were back then?
With regard to what?
Anything and everything. So, you know, those listening, maybe you've checked out the affiliate owner groups on Facebook. There's a handful of them. Or you just hear people griping, or I'm disaffiliating or de-affiliating. Is that because there's entitlement and expectations these days? When in 07, for $500, that was my first affiliate fee. It's like, I don't expect CrossFit to do anything. In fact, just letting me use this name is really badass.
Well, I think perspective matters. So first of all, it is an affiliation. And another way to look at it would be, it is a licensing type model, where you basically pay to use the name CrossFit with the credential while not disparaging the brand. Like that's, if I could sum it up, like that's what it is. There's no requirement on you to do anything. And even for $3,000, it's incredibly cheap. Like
That's the current rate.
That's the current rate. But my point is, what other brand are you going to buy into that's going to cost you $3,000 a year?
Yeah.
Nothing. Zero. There is not one. It does not exist.
With no rules associated
with no franchise.
With it.
Well, even if there were rules associated with it, there is no other brand that would be equivalent in size and recognition as CrossFit that is going to be near. I mean, Chick-fil-A maybe. Like, that's free, but that's a 2-year interview process to get in there. You know what I mean? Like, so my point is like, it's still incredibly cheap, so don't complain.
So, but with that being said,
the problem with doing a podcast in the lobby at an affiliate gathering is, 70% of the people that walk
I
through
do
the
want to
lobby.
let people chime in on here. You want to ask some of these people a question? I'll give them the headset.
Well, let's finish this, and then we'll just grab people as they come through.
Okay. No, I just think, in the whole spectrum of affiliate ownership, you do see that. And in general, we were talking about the games, we were talking about a lot of things. CrossFit is this thing that we care about, we're passionate about, and we believe we have a voice and we should be heard, instead of sometimes just appreciating, hey, we get to do this thing, we get to be a part of it. And I think when going back to the original question, it was because some of us that have been around for that long didn't expect anything out of it, because it was just like, hey, it's like our favorite band is picking up, we're excited for them.
We got tickets at a discounted rate.
Yeah, and I still get to go
and they
hang
let us
out.
backstage at no extra cost.
Yeah, and now when I see them, I still get front row tickets every once in a while, but other people do as well.
So moving forward, so let's fast forward 10 years, right? So we're at the 10-year. Now, this is not the 10-year anniversary of CrossFit for anybody who's confused, right? This affiliate gathering is for affiliates who have been open for 10 years or longer, which I believe the number is about 800. I believe at least 250 of those 800 are here.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've heard.
So a good bit, right? So, a quarter of them, 25% of them showed up in Canada, in Whistler, right?
That's huge.
That's a fucking big deal.
I will say this, because whenever you use numbers, they're skewed, right? Out of the first 800, probably 90% were in the United States and Canada.
They had to have been, I would imagine.
I mean, you could have had
they could have, but I mean, like that first 800 happened pretty quickly, and it happened primarily in the U.S.
So I'm saying the numbers are skewed. Like, people came from all over the world. Most people that are here are from the United States and Canada, because to have been a 10-year affiliate, you probably...
There's a handful from Europe. Like Carl Stedman's here.
Yeah,
Davs
you're
is
right.
here.
And some...
Drake is here.
Some people are invited as well. So they may be guests. There's that...
Like you.
Armin dude.
Like you. You're here. You don't have an affiliate. You're here.
I still have an affiliate.
Just weaseling your way around the CrossFit community.
What's that Armin dude's name? Armin Hammer?
No, it's not Armin Hammer. Yeah.
I swear I think it is.
Oh.
Austin Bajibing is over there. Can you come here, Austin?
It's Begibing.
Begibing?
Yeah.
I'm going to let you talk to Austin.
I'm also going to teach him how to pronounce your name, Austin. It's Begibing. All right, so for those of you that don't...
Mess up the air, though.
No, I see how much product you have in there. You look good. All right, so we have Austin Begibing, Flowmaster. How long have you owned your affiliate?
Well, the credentials say 2007, but since 2008.
Okay.
It was January.
All right, so Jay just asked me to ask you about the 2008 CrossFit Games.
What do you want to ask?
Can you be more specific about that? Yeah. First rule of interviewing is be specific about your question. You were at that games, right?
I participated in the games, yes.
Nice. And how did you do?
I participated. I don't know if it was competing or it was more participating.
Okay. Oh, God.
Wasn't
Do
there.
you just want the microphone?
Dude, you and I had a discussion, and you were upset because you didn't participate in one of the games because you would have done really well.
I did, yeah. The 07 games in my backyard.
In Aromas.
In Aromas.
Yeah.
And when all the events were released, right, it's a little Woodstock of fitness.
Austin off. T is over there. We're going to kick Austin off in the middle of his story.
No. She is more important.
Shit, get her over here.
Yeah, get over here. Oh, you can have my mic. You guys can talk.
So anyways, yeah, I would have finished, I don't know, 6th or something.
Dude, you could have been the 6th fittest man on the earth.
I'm the 13th in 08, so.
There you go.
That's pretty cool.
I think have we had somebody that's placed higher than that on the podcast?
Austin Maliolo came in 6th.
Oh, okay. Well,
James
so
Hobart won as a team.
team. Yeah, I'm talking individuals, bro. Come on, bro. Just give him a break. All right. So anyway, I'm going to ask you this, Austin. So Jay and I were talking about the difference between opening a CrossFit affiliate in 2007, 8, 9, which is when the three of us opened our affiliates,
right,
and now, and like some of the biggest differences that you see in nothing in particular, but just like the people and like what their expectations are for having an affiliate.
Well, the sheer size of some of the affiliates that are opening now is astronomical, in relation to back then.
Yeah, nobody was dumping $100,000 into their affiliate back then.
I think both me and Jay opened up in a racquetball court.
He did for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
So just for some context, so Austin is a flow master, was training back in Santa Cruz way back in the day. You know, super, super talented coach. And when we have talked about you in a positive light on the podcast.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So he is no stranger to CrossFit and just an exceptional coach. So he has a lot of context to offer here. So, but yeah, nobody had any investment type dollars, we would call it.
No, it was relatively inexpensive. You started small back then. I mean, one of the biggest challenges was finding bumper plates.
We've talked about that too. It's just like the sheer problem of just getting access to equipment was a problem.
Right. Built my own rig.
Most people did.
Right. That whole scenario. Now you can one-stop shop all over the place.
Yeah.
Online and
go to Rogan, you can hit the button once and you can get a fully outfitted gym.
That's there. There are. I mean, I know a few people that have opened affiliates recently that have companies behind them, like Two Brains Business.
Yeah, like VCs. Yeah, they're coming.
Well, not just that, but also
mentoring, structure.
Yeah, before they even open the doors, so they have systems in place.
Yep.
You know? When I think all of us started, it was, well, at least for myself, I didn't have a background in business whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I was a trainer in a gym, found CrossFit, loved it, wanted to share it with other people. So,
and that's largely what he and I spoke about. Is like that everybody that's here falls in that bucket. Like all 250 people fall exactly in that bucket. You're like, I'm super passionate about this. I want to help people. I'm just going to start a gym, but nobody back then considered it a business.
Exactly right, man. And you know, you stumble along and make some errors, and we're all still here. So
yeah, and you and I have had some conversations about like evolving the business. So what, in your mind, if we fast forward another 10 years, what do you think it's going to take for people to be at the 20-plus year affiliate gathering?
I still, and I don't know if this is naive or not, but I still believe that if you create fit people and build a strong community, that you're going to be successful. And sure, there's a lot of business pieces beyond systems that need to be in place. But if that's at the root of it all, I'm pretty confident that I'll be here in another 20 years.
I would agree, and I think the people that keep that core function that you're talking about, which is like constantly varied function movements executed high intensity and care, and that is the core value of whatever your business or your gym is, and you can lay on all of the other systems, the marketing and all of those things without completely abandoning the fitness aspect. Because I do see, and I don't know how you feel, I do see a lot of people that are kind of straying away from actually providing fitness and coaching and just going for sales and just trying to do all of the other stuff without actually addressing the service aspect of it, right? You have to do both, and at that point I think you win. And I think there's a lot of people who are straying away from the coaching aspect of it because they do need the systems and the sales and all that stuff. But it doesn't matter how good those are if your core product is not actually any good.
It's I mean, I don't know how many emails you get as an affiliate owner a day about so-and-so who can bring 50 new people to your box.
Every day.
But even if those worked and 50 people showed up at your box, could you service them? And if you can't, that's a nightmare as a business owner. So yeah, the service needs to be there, and then the systems laid on top of that definitely help. But if you're delivering fitness and you're making your people more fit, and really that community feel is behind it, I think that all of us here will be around.
If you could give gym owners either 1 to 2 real specific things in order to do that, what would they be?
Stick to what you're good at. Stick to what you know.
Meaning, like, don't start doing all these weird programs and creating, spin-offs of CrossFit, maybe?
Yeah, that's a piece of it. But, I mean, I've seen the cycle of, strength is king or aerobic capacity.
Got it.
Or gymnastics-based. But in reality, it's you do constantly varied functional movements, high intensity over years and years and years, That's me as an athlete.
Yeah.
You know, and I continue to improve at 40. When I take my son to school in the morning and look around at the other dads.
I would imagine you're the fittest 40-year-old rolling around in most circles.
I'm not trying to pop the collar or anything, but yeah, it's like this. It's just a reminder. This stuff works, and you can get caught up in the this is hot now, and start to try to diversify a little too much, in my opinion, as an affiliate owner. You know, if I'm adding yoga and a specialty gymnastics class and a specialty powerlifting class and a specialty this class, there's experts for that. You know, good friend Jesse Burdick.
Yep.
Like, if I started a powerlifting class in my gym, I'm not a specialist when it comes to powerlifting. It's not my specialty. My specialty is CrossFit, and yeah, those movements are a piece of it, but I'm not going to be nearly as successful as any specialist gymnast class or specialist powerlifting. If I try to offer all of them, it's going to dilute the main product.
We have a specialist in my gym. He's a weightlifting coach. He's a former national champion, 94-kilo guy. But he's the weightlifting coach, not me.
Right. And I think I've seen that work successfully in gyms, and the way that I've seen it work successfully, and maybe you have a different experience, is basically subleasing here's your program, you do it, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do it, and I think it's just it's a conversation about what's fair for the other person. And now, in order to do that, here's what you have to do. Going back to our what the larger question is, you have to run a sound business in order to offer somebody else opportunity to do that inside the walls
Correct.
of your gym.
Yeah, 100%.
So, no, I think that's cool.
Yeah, so that's one thing, and I think the second thing, yes, for two, is I find that affiliate owners that fall out of living the lifestyle fail. I think you just if you're still living the lifestyle, you're going to be passionate about sharing.
That's a great point, actually, because now that you bring that up, I guess I've thought about that and had conversations, but I've never really said it out loud. Probably is that I get what you're saying. I think the gym owners that are still training CrossFit and that's their primary means of fitness have a healthy community, and the ones that don't probably aren't as healthy.
Yeah, man. You know, or the absentee owner. Yeah.
Which can work, but you have to have systems in place for that. The person who replaces you needs to fit the bill for all of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, they need to live CrossFit as a lifestyle. They need to be a people person. They need to have systems in place, all that stuff. You know, there are some gyms that do it successfully. And to each their own. I'm not going to knock anybody for any particular model, but it's either works or it doesn't, right? So it's effective. It's just like coaching. It's either effective or it's not, you know. Yeah. What's some of the biggest changes you've made in your gym in the last 2 to 3 years as an affiliate owner?
Man. Just getting some more help business-wise, and setting up systems, whether it's a gym playbook for newer employees, job descriptions written out, you know, the system side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Getting that going, that's been basically the biggest change that I've made, man. I mean, other than that, it's been pretty consistent.
What would you say? What would you say was your biggest Achilles heel? What was your Achilles heel that you've kind of started addressing in the past 36 months?
My biggest Achilles heel. I mean, not to sound redundant, but it was lack of business knowledge, and that stuff's not just going to come to you. Mm-hmm. Yes, I've learned, small things. Hey, this is probably not a good idea in California. The way that you're structured to pay your employees is 1099.
Got it.
You know, and so I was like, all right, I'll do that. I'll get a payroll system, and this is years ago. So my payroll system hits, and I'm like, hey, hold on a minute. They're paying taxes on the income I'm paying them, but I have to pay taxes. What the
Damn it!
Wait, what? California?
Yeah, thanks.
So these are the ways that I learned about business, and just to get all that a little more dialed in, I got some help from Two Brains,
Mm-hmm.
and
yep, Chris has been. He's talked to Chris, and we've talked to quite a few. He's been on the podcast. So
it was great. I went to
I used them. He used them.
Yeah, I went to. They did a dry run of their course at Scotts Valley, and I attended. And the one thing that really struck me about those guys, there's a lot of people out there that blew up a gym in a year, sold it, and now are consultants. And everyone who presented at that course is a gym owner still.
Which is super important.
Yeah,
I'm always suspect of somebody who they blew up their gym and then they sold it, because to me that doesn't make any sense. If you have a cash flow asset, I'm really confused as to why you would sell it.
Well, it's that, and I think that the first year or two, especially depending on location, but just for a CrossFit gym is relatively easy.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Everything's new, fresh, and exciting.
Well,
I'll let you guys wrap it up.
well, he gave us 2 pieces. You need to hop back on and then we'll wrap
Jason,
it up.
all yours.
Awesome beginning, everybody.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Sir.
Bring it in. I'm hugging a big bearded man right now. What's up? My other roommate from the CrossFit Games 2 years ago. What's up? Good.
All right, Vern's saying hi to everybody that I just said hi to. But I hope that was good. I'll have to listen to it.
No, it was good.
He made a lot of hand gestures.
That's what he does.
So,
All right, so let's end with this.
yeah, we have to go. Our wives are going to be yelling at us. We have to get over. Mine's hangry.
Yeah.
And we had the whole conversation about marriage on the last episode.
Which Jess does listen to the podcast, but she
yes.
commented.
I
So
saw
okay,
the
so
comments.
I want to ask you
But
this.
Tia did walk by earlier.
Tia who?
How many Tias do you know?
I don't
in the
know any.
cross-
That's why I'm asking. Yeah. I don't.
Tia Claire Toomey.
I do not know her. I have judged her on several occasions, but I do not know her. So let me ask you this question. So again, we're at the 10-year, and I asked Austin this question too. What do you think affiliates are going to need to do to be here, thriving and happy for the 20+ year affiliate gathering?
Well, personally, I do think if you're here now, you probably will be doing the right things in another 10 years. I don't think you've survived this far. So in other words, keep doing what they're doing. But
Well, I don't know. I asked that because I'm not sure, because I think only in the last 36 months has the market reached anything that looks like maturity, which changes a lot of things, right? So there's things you could have gotten away with 36 months ago or 5 years ago that you cannot get away with right now.
That is true.
And if you're established, and if you were first to the party, you can get away with that shit for a lot longer because you already have a built-in member base who doesn't know any better.
You're right, and we made a lot of mistakes that if were making them now,
Would have gone out of business.
yes, 100%, we would have been, yes.
Like, not even
we
joking.
would have been boycotted, picketed, the business would have been shut down, fire marshals would have come, so, yeah.
Curtis Bowler just walked by, everybody. OG.
I saw Curtis earlier.
John Brown's here, my man.
Giving the finger to us.
People are like, who are these people?
No,
Curtis Bowler, he owns Rainier
He
CrossFit
owns
in
actually-
Washington.
Which is considered, right now, the first affiliate.
First ever?
Well, because a few had closed.
Oh,
he's
got it.
technically
He's technically
oldest,
number one.
Yeah.
And then John Brown, who's on some of our staff, was a flowmaster for CrossFit Kids for many years
And
as
his
well.
wife as
and his wife,
well,
too,
yeah.
Kelly, yep.
And then a couple other people. Joe DeGane, it's his birthday.
Who
today.
I'm Is his birthday today?
Yeah.
We're going to get drunk.
He's definitely probably drunk already.
Yeah, so he definitely needs to be. We'll get him on the podcast, all 3 of us, before we leave.
While he's drunk?
That's even better.
First drunk episode?
Well, if he's on, then his wife needs to be on because I actually enjoy her more.
Liz is
the
insane.
best.
She's insane. So, kind of, I guess, piggybacking off what we were saying then is you have to evolve. And now that's probably the question you're asking, though. What is evolving at this point?
Yeah.
I'd say
Besides listening to this podcast.
you do have to do, and I think we already touched upon it, and so maybe it's a good point to wrap up. We have to show everyone that they can do CrossFit. And I don't know if that's too general.
It's kind of general, but how would you do that? I kind of agree with you, meaning like I think it's time for affiliate owners in general to get their heads out of the sand.
Yeah, I think, a mistake I used to make, and to some extent still make it in different areas, is you just get so strong in your beliefs that you aren't looking elsewhere. And while I believe in CrossFit, I believe in one workout a day, I think there has to be something easier to get people into classes in joining the community. And that goes back to what you said, whether it's a boot camp, whether it's a CrossFit that doesn't do snatches for the first month, but we need to just show everyone, hey, this is safe, you're going to get fitter, and you're going to have a really good time while doing it. That's what it's going to take. Because if you don't do it, the truth is somebody else is going to do it in your town.
Yeah, and I think that's a challenge. And the challenge is, hey, how do I lower the barrier for entry while not abandoning the methodology of CrossFit, which does involve a barbell or a dumbbell and complex movements.
But you know how you do that, really, now that I think about it? Is you become a better coach.
So that was where I was hoping Austin was going to go earlier. I just don't think we had enough time. But I think...
So I got the answer right.
I think you did get the answer right, but I don't think it's an answer, right? Because that's a very broad topic. But I think my point is, and with a lot of people, you mentioned people they're de-affiliating or abandoning the brand, and they're largely going to, if you take a look at it, and I'm not knocking this, I just want to lead with that. They're going to lower skill programs.
I say, wait, you were saying that. I say we stop here.
Okay.
We have part 2, because I think we're right where we need to be, and I think you just really made me think of it from that perspective. It's easier to not coach the snatch.
Right.
But if everybody, but that doesn't mean you can't be in class with my grandma. I can't coach Fern to snatch while I coach that woman.
That means I'm not
PVC.
good enough. It means you're not good enough.
And let's end it there.
So we'll end it there. We'll pick it back up. Joe DeGain's a great one to have on this for 2.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Okay.
Well, we'll be less distracted. We might be drunk, but we'll be back.
Jay will not be drunk. He's not going to drink. Don't buy that. All right, guys.
But we're in Canada, and there is some legal stuff in Canada.
Cannabis is legal in Canada.
So
I forgot about that until you're driving by all the dispensaries on the way here.
If I'm asleep in the corner while you're recording, I'm very high. Don't wake me up.
Fair enough. I won't even be mad at you.
All right. Well, let's go to this party.
All right. See you guys.
Thanks for listening to Best Hour of Their Day. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. How cool is that? There's a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, so it becomes super simple. Some of these episodes with Fern or Todd or myself chatting with one another, we've done right within the app itself. Anchor will make it easy to distribute your podcast to all platforms, Spotify, Apple, and many more. And you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make an awesome podcast in one place. All you have to do is download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Come on, who doesn't have Spotify at this point? And if you were unaware, Spotify now is offering podcasts. That's right. On Spotify, you can listen to all your favorite artists, but also podcasts in one place for free. Spotify has a huge catalog of podcasts on every topic, including the one you're listening to right now, Best Hour of Their Day. On Spotify, you can follow your favorite podcasts so you never miss an episode. Premium users can even download episodes to listen to offline wherever you are, something I always do before I hop on a plane. And you can even easily share what you're listening to with your friends on Instagram and other social media platforms. Here's the deal. If you haven't done so already, be sure to download the Spotify app, search for Best Hour of Their Day on Spotify, or browse some other podcasts if you want. You can find them in your library tab. And also make sure to follow me so you never miss an episode of Best Hour of Their Day. Thanks again for listening to Best Hour of Their Day. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, one more time, please leave us a review on Apple Podcast and send us any feedback you have to @besthouroftheirday on Instagram and besthouroftheirday@gmail.com if you want to shoot us an email. We appreciate you. Thanks again. Have a great rest of your day.